So, hello and welcome to the another episode of Offload podcast. Together, we have a very special guest with us, Professor Prahl, who is also director of the Institute of Metal Forming. So, hello, Professor Prahl.
Yeah, hello there, Dr. Kayyum. I'm very happy to be here and I'm looking forward to the session.
Yeah, so we have Professor Prahl here today because we wanted to talk to someone who is very high in academia and is running an institute with a very strong vision, and that is where everything revolves around. So, Professor Prahl, can you please introduce yourself a little bit to our audience? So, what was your background? How was your journey and experience so far?
Yeah, my name is Ulrich Prahl. I'm heading the Institute for Metal Forming and I'm professor for metal forming technologies here at TU Bergakademie in Freiberg. This institute is a scientific institute, very technological, organized, and with a clear statement and commitment to metal forming of the first forming stage. So this is about material science and material production technologies for semi-finished products. We are around 45 to 50 people, 1/3 of them technicians and non-scientific staff and 2/3 of them scientific staff. And we do our duties on the one hand side in the education, in the study lectures, and on the other side in doing research for academia and also for industry. Me, myself, I'm heading this department since 5 years now, and I started my journey in academia with studying technische Mathematik, which is a kind of hybrid topic. I studied mathematics and the technical application ready for industry. That time it was in the late 80s and early 90s. Mathematics was something where people understood that in future it will be more and more important for the industry and for IT applications for industrial processes and production. And that time we started to combine mathematics and IT and industrial part of that, production, mechanical engineering, something like this. After that I moved over to a PhD position or a researcher's position for a PhD candidate, and I did my PhD studies on continuum mechanics and damage mechanics. With that I combined mathematics, algorithms, IT, numerics with some start of materials mechanics, and then I moved as a postdoc into a department on ferrous metallurgy, and I combined the material science and the materials technology with everything. So with that it was a combination of numerics and simulation and modeling plus material science plus mechanical engineering plus production engineering, and this together is the production and the materials semi-finished materials production we are aiming for in our department now.
Okay, nice. So I want to understand. I want to understand what it takes to become a professor in Germany. So how was your journey from finishing your PhD or your higher studies, from there to actually becoming a full professor? So what are the skills or attributes or experience required for that journey?
I think it's not clear a specific skill or a specific combination of skills that you need to become a professor. What you need is a good idea to use the skills that you have to run for a specific vision, for something that is really new in your field, and you have to combine different aspects and different scientific disciplines in order to reach this goal. And this is a little bit a story always, a storyline changing from during the PhD time, I had to really concentrate on one specific topic, and that was quite important to have the skill to work concentrated on one scientific issue. That time it was the damage mechanics of microalloyed steels. But when you go into when you move over into a postdoc phase, then you have to broaden your knowledge and you have to concentrate yourself on many topics in parallel. You have to earn some knowledge in teaching, you have to earn some knowledge in concentrating on science, and you have to run in talking about your science. And I think when you are talking about the science and when you can convince people that you are doing something that is relevant, then it runs for itself to some part.
From what you have said, if I summarize in words of how I understand it, is that professor is someone who is basically responsible for pushing the frontier of a special field, a narrow field, forward, right? With the vision and by focusing on this whole field correctly. And it does not just require you to be technically strong, but it requires a special set of skills. You have to have people skills, and you have to have several other skills required to actually do that job successfully, right?
I think that is very well explained. It is about pushing something forward, and either you make it by yourself, then it is a very scientific approach and maybe a very academic approach, or you can convince a team around pushing forward the limits of the knowledge of this time, and then it's a very technical approach. And somewhere in between, you must find yourself again.
Yeah, nice. So what I want to shift a little bit towards is then, for example, now when you are a professor at Institute of Metal Forming, what is the scope or the focus area of Institute of Metal Forming under your professorship? So in the long term, if you look at next 15-20 years, where are we headed?
To be honest, I only have some 12 to 15 years. So the vision of 20 years is to become to get a very good successor who will take over. But the vision for the next 10 to 15 years is to become a kind of first contact partner in the materials technology for semi-finished metallic materials products. Our department is on this kissing point where the disciplines of material science and production science and modeling and IT-based technology design, where these different topics come together to create new production technologies for new materials and new properties and new portfolios of properties. And what we want to be a kind of first problem solver for those that are looking for a new material or for a new production technology. And we are the contact partner for those they want to understand their production processes, really from the basics. And this is what I think is very unique in this place, at least in the German area, and where we see that all those that are using rolling and forming, metal forming as a production technology to make goods, to make something very specific properties, very specific tailored materials, they should show up in our department.
Yeah, that was a very clear vision. What I also have seen in the recent past is that there has been a lot of geopolitical debate about energy crisis, for example, now in Europe, as well as with growing global warming, there also has been a concern regarding the green production technologies, so reducing carbon footprint and everything. And I think we are also directly in the middle of this heated debate about improving the production processes or making them more greener and more energy efficient. And this is what has been coming. This is also now part of a problem that has been coming to us in the last few months from our industrial partners, right?
Yes, that's right. There are two aspects in that. The one is about the kind and the amount of energy we are using, and it is a great chance and potential in combining processes and really shortening the process chain and really working out of one heat to the final specific properties you would like to have in your material. And the second challenge in it is that we are in a big story of increasing the amount of circularity in our materials, and that means we have a kind of new class of materials, the circular materials, and that are kind of dirty alloys. But with using an alloy again and again and again in the long time circular idea approach, that means that there is an increasing amount of tramp elements and an increasing amount of complexity in the alloying system, which on the first view looks like a drawback, but when you make it intelligent and come along with new ideas and approaches and technologies, then it can be a very, very strong benefit in the final properties design. And that is something that really triggers us. What happens when we are changing from a very, very clean alloy to a real world circular alloy? And this to turn around in a benefit, that is something what we are using and what we are contributing to these nowadays big questions.
Yeah. Yes, I think these are these are the concerns which the industry is dealing with nowadays, and especially when we promise that we can develop technology with our partners, we are at the forefront of dealing with these issues ourselves. Generally, I know, for example, to actually do this, to actually make it possible, we have to deal with different partners. So, for example, in one direction, we have our students who we are teaching and preparing for the future. On the other side, we are working with some of our colleagues on different projects. Then, for example, we are also dealing with certain things on the, for example, political forefront. Then we have a lot of industrial partners in terms of suppliers, as well as who are our customers. So we want to have solutions. Can you name or suggest any other people or stakeholders we are working with?
Oh, the list of stakeholders is quite long. It's right. The stakeholders are, on the one hand side, our main customers are our students.
Yeah.
They show up in our courses because they want to have knowledge and they want to have a good basis, a good ground for a lifelong career. So this is something where we do not only have to teach them what is relevant today, we have to teach them what might be relevant tomorrow. And by sure, these are our main stakeholders. And the second main stakeholders are those people that want to have a scientific knowledge, study, project. They have a question about something where we do our science on. This is academia partners, but mainly industrial partners. They have a specific issue, a specific new topic and a new question, and they show up and ask, please solve this and that problem. On the other side, we have as a stakeholder the politics and the society, because society is eager for a vision for the future. How can we improve our world? How can we improve our goods? How can we hold our level of luxus or of living? And for that, society needs engineers, and they need smart people with coming along with new ideas and new innovations. And in that sense, we serve to the society as a whole with a new generation of engineers and of scientists that will help to ask and to answer the question of the future and not the question of today alone. What I also see is that we have international partners on a very, very strong level as a kind of our stakeholders. When we can improve the knowledge of people coming from outside in our way of living and in our way of teaching and of academic education and studying, that will also be a kind of improvement for our society, but also for worldwide development.
For overall globe.
Yeah.
And what I also feel while working at the Institute is not just that we have to incorporate all these stakeholders in our vision when we are thinking about what we are working on and how we are working on something. We also have to somehow keep them in a loop, so a feedback loop. So we also inform them about what we are working on, what is the progress so far, how are things going, what are the new developments, and now what are the new challenges that we are dealing with, right?
Yes, that's true. We have plenty of our activities have to be reported about. That's very, very important, because otherwise the stakeholders don't know what they get back from their contribution. And what we are doing is that we are inviting to the defenses of our student projects, that we are inviting to the defenses of our PhD studies, that we are giving talks and posters and presentations worldwide to conferences and to working groups and to workshops and so on. And also that we report in our own conference and in other people's conferences about the contributions that we give in our specific field, but also in the development of methodologies and of approaches.
Yeah, so also through formal and informal communication, for example, like research papers and social media posts.
Yeah.
When we are dealing with so many stakeholders, especially we will talk in your context. So when you're dealing with so many stakeholders and everyone has to be kept in loop, it looks like a very busy schedule. So what I want to know next is, so this is a very long-term vision. So how does this long-term vision break on weekly or daily basis? And what does your normal day or activities look like that you engage in?
The normal in my daily activities is that nothing is normal. There is only one, let's say, standard in it. I'm starting early at around 8 o'clock, and that I'm finishing in the evening somewhere at 7 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that is the only normal in it.
Okay.
I think I have around, let's say every week 1 or 2 business trips. I have every morning a kind of time where I try to organize my day, to make a concentration focus time, and in the same in the evening. But everything in between is very diverse. I give, let's say, 8 hours lecture in the week. That is somewhere to spread all over the time. I try to limit myself to 3 or 4 hours of meetings and discussions in a day, and the remaining time I'm maybe most of the time I'm reading and writing documents. I think that is indeed the 2 most important activities are speaking and reading and correcting. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So now we have a glimpse in your everyday activity. So the punchline was an average is that nothing is normal.
Yeah, that's it.
So when you say, for example, the two main tasks that you focus on is speaking, for example, generally in meetings and in lectures,
Yes.
and then, for example, reading. So reading everything. It is really, I can understand it is related to emails, it is proposals, it is reports, it is research papers, it is thesis, it is offers that we send to different industries. It is reading is quite diverse, I can say. How important do you think? So you are speaking to people, right? And
No,
you are
I'm always half of the day I'm in a discussion with someone. It's not that I'm always speaking. It's not that the
it is a
that
discussion.
the professor is always a lecturer. By far not. Most of my time I'm listening to the people and try to catch up their issues and their struggles, and then it's my task to help to organize it and to find not the solution but a way to the solution. That is my main task in that. I'm talking to students, I'm talking to my coworkers and to my group leaders and to my team, and I'm talking to industry and to scientific partners. Sometimes I'm talking to politicians, sometimes I'm talking to media people, sometimes I'm talking to the administration and trying to find a solution for some administrative or some financial issues. Sometimes I'm talking to the juristic people, to the law people, in order to find a solution for a contract. Yeah, I think that is talking, trying to find a solution, trying to find the position or the comment or the formulation that will be helpful for all people in the room.
So for example, when you what I wanted to say was when you're having discussions and when you are reading documents, primarily these are ways of communicating with people, right? And how important is having a strong, reliable team for successfully carrying out these short-term and long-term tasks?
You are nothing without a team, without the partners around you. No? That is sometimes I claim my secretary a kind of shield for me and a kind of shield for my people around.
Yeah.
And there are thousands of small and big administrative issues where I'm completely lost when I have to make it by myself. On the other side, we have clear structures in the department with groups and teams and group leaders. And this also has to be somewhat well organized, and I have to trust on the people that are working with me. And on the other side, I have to behave and to be in a way that they can trust in me. When they cannot trust in me, that they know what I'm talking about is true, then they will be disappointed and they will lose their motivation and their spirit. This is something which is very, very critical. Yeah, and on the other side, trust is something where both sides needs and where both sides have to invest in. Yeah. Trusting is something where you first have to invest and give more than you immediately expect to get back. And on the other side, it's these kind of investments where you, on the long term, get back more than you put in. So what I hear is that trust is a huge attribute or personal trait that is important for a good team player. What are the, for example, other key skills or traits in a good team player? In a good team, you need different kind of skills, and not every skill is in every people. You need sometimes people that are very innovative. Sometimes you need someone who is very disciplined, who is very concentrated, someone who is very focused on things. And you have to combine different attributes in order to build up a smart and very effective and successful team overall.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the main win or the main benefit for someone who is trying to lead a team is when he can identify different complementary skills in the people around and support them to combine their skills, their complementary character, to one big picture that they can support each other and not lock each other. Typically, people with very different skills and very different character sometimes tend to block each other, and that is something that we have to overcome. Not only to overcome, to show that supporting each other is a big deal for all of us. And also, another skill is important, to have a clear communication, that everyone knows what he is expected, and on the other side that everyone can explain what he understand himself, what he is able and what he will not be able, and or where he is on the way towards his personal aim or his specific task, and to ensure a trustworthy update of the status of everyone against everybody. On the other side, to limit the amount of information, because it will not be helpful when always people are only talking to each other, and then nothing is done in the meantime. And to find a good balance between information and update of communication, and on the other side,
actual activity and work.
Real working of real doing science and doing experiments and so on.
Yeah, it is interesting that these are very general and wide set of skills, and I think these are the set of skills that are required almost in every field to succeed, and not just at Institute of Metal Forming.
Yes, by sure. It's always when you are in a team, and work like metal forming there are so many specific, let's say, activities and tasks necessary to come to a good solution at the end. You need some people that are able to work with the machine and with the big equipment, and some others have to concentrate on the metallography and on the scanning electron microscope, and then you need someone to be very successful with the modeling and with the mathematics and with the IT and with the network and with the new tools like artificial intelligence programs and apps and so on. And then you need someone who is doing the marketing of the department, someone who is able to present the results, someone who is able to write good papers, someone who is able to check if the paper is really as good as the writer expected to be. And then we need some people to communicate with the students, and some other to communicate with the industry, and some other to communicate with the university or with the politics or with the administration. And there are, let's say, 1,000 tasks in the institute during the whole day, and there's no one who is able to make all these tasks, neither from his education nor from his character. And it is a good thing when everyone is contributing somewhere, and the best is when everyone is contributing with those things that he can do from his education the best, and from his character the best. And in parallel, everyone should be a little bit challenged by what he is doing, otherwise he feels bored when he's only doing every day the same things. Everyone should be a little bit challenged and exhausted, and everyone should be somewhere on a good level between everything is calm and everything is hot. It's quite good when everyone has a challenge, and on the other side, everyone sees, okay, what I'm doing is fitting to me and I like it.
Yeah. That is quite interesting. You very nicely explained that how what are the different skills required in a team, and no one can have all these skills and experiences. But a little bit from everyone contributed to the team then results in a much bigger, better set of skills. I was building up this discussion to this point that we mainly want to discuss, and that is, now we have discussed what we do, what kind of activities you are primarily engaged with as a professor. And for example, we very nicely summarized how under your professorship or directorship, how the whole team is distributed and what they're working on. What I want to ask you next is, how often do people approach you as a professor and show their interest in joining the institute?
To be honest, more or less every day.
Yeah.
And that is
something
that is very specific, because it is over approaching me.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other side, we are continuously looking for people that can contribute.
Yeah.
Mainly the first question we are always asking is someone fitting to a specific topic, to a specific scientific question, to a project. But it is more than only doing one project. It is somewhat
being a team
will
player.
Be someone able to organize herself in a team. Will someone be able to be a member of our big team?
Yeah. And what I feel is that you would be approached multiple times during a week by a very
Absolutely.
wide variety of people.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that sometimes it is overwhelming, but on the other side, we are always in search of good people who can join our team and contribute well. How do we gauge if someone will contribute well, or how, or how should one approach a professor to show that they can contribute to the institute? I can ask this question in another direction by asking, do you have any insights, or do you have any examples of good or bad contacts people made with you, in terms of students or in terms of collaborators?
So the very traditional way is someone is sending me an email or standing in front of me and says, I would like to
Join
be
the
in
institute.
contact.
Mm.
And what my very, very absolute first question is about the CV and about the description of himself. And because we know that we are looking for really, let's say, objective measures or objective information, and the two main absolute objective, or hopefully absolute objective informations are what is his education and the grades, and the second is what is he looking for in this moment. Mm-hmm. So what do you need?
Expect from us?
What do you expect? So these are the two main questions: a kind of, let's say, motivation letter, and the normal, let's say, table of grades. That is what we are looking for. Yeah, and then this is not enough. This is the ground.
Yeah.
I know what we are looking for. We are looking for people that are able to contribute to our scientific, to our education, to our academia institute. And in that, I'm looking for people that can intellectually understand how to work as a scientist. So someone who can prepare a document how she expects to work as a scientist, or how to expect to be a project. Well, everyone needs, on the one hand side, a kind of funding in our department, and on the other side, he needs an area of expertise. And both must be something that is convincing and for some years reasonable. Mm. So what I need and what I try to identify very fast is this people in front of me able to think scientifically? Mm. And second, is this people able to accept working under the pressure to run for funding and to contribute in projects and in the task of the department. For that, what we need are people that can apply and that can think in projects, how to design, how to work in, how to run through application, through a preparation and through the work time of a project.
Yeah. So if I summarize the basic background on the base is, do you know anything about metal forming, or do you have any information about that? Have you already enough qualifications, and do you have interest in pursuing your career, for example, at Institute of Metal Forming? So this is the ground and the base.
Yes.
And then what I feel is that it would make a candidate or an application stand out if they can, for example, if I rephrase what you mentioned, is if they can connect their background, their personality, their skills and experience with what we have to offer. If they can show us this picture themselves, it will be much easier for us to decide on how do we want to go forward with them. On the other hand, what I feel most people do is they just put everything on the table. So this is my CV, these are my grades, this is my background, and I'm very motivated to work with you. Please have me in. And then it is mostly, and then they expect that it is mostly upon us that, okay, so we have to figure out where do they fit, what will they work on, and where will be the most useful for us. But maybe you can shed light on this question on your advice on effectively reaching out to a professor and making a meaningful connection. So it makes your work easier, especially when you are dealing with many other things every day, like we discussed before.
It will be, or I had several times in the past, people sitting in front of me that have not only a clear vision, I want to be a successful scientist, they have a clear idea how to create a project. They had a kind of template in mind, and they were able to trust me that they will be able to build this journey towards the PhD as a kind of project. They had in mind, and they explained to me what they need and how they would support us as an institute to get the resources for this and that and their specific idea. Usually at the end, these kind of people, it's not a must that they do what they wanted to do, but they do it how they wanted to make it. And what makes people relative, or let's say very successful in reaching out the department, is I have a clear idea and a clear proposal, how to make a proposal.
Yeah.
And these kind of people, they have not only the idea of I have plenty ideas and now you tell me how to make it. Those that also reach me out with at least a piece of how to make it, they have a good chance to come along. Sometimes people come along with a project idea, sometimes they come along with a specific skill that is necessary for this and that, and they can convince me on that. And sometimes they come along with a kind of funding or a kind of partner who would offer the kind of funding they are looking for. And this is a straightforward way to reach in our team.
So if people approach with a nice chalked out plan on with proper homework of what did I see, why I'm coming to you, and what is my plan, and with that plan exactly what do I expect or need from you to make it into a successful plan, right? And I think with everything, so with all the prerequisites, I think they will they will stand out, and they will have a chance to go further with, okay, let's see how we can make that possible, right?
Yes, that's right. On the other side, I have to draw your attention to the regular openings of our department. Whenever we really know a specific, we have a project, or we have a funding, or we have something, a task that where we need some coworker, then these are traditionally published on the website of the university, and everything that is published on the university people can apply for. And then I get a list of applications for one specific position, and usually we will take that one as a candidate who fits the best. And that again is the moment where everyone can convince me that she is fitting the best to the needs. And those are attractive to ask for a second interview that really has an idea how a department or how a science in education departments is running. The better someone accepts the specific needs of a department and the specific, let's say, complex skill portfolio, the better someone has a kind of idea about it and can convince us that he fits in that, the higher the chances.
Very nice. So what I want to go towards next is, for example, what we see is when students are, for example, graduating as master students, they will probably, if not doing anything extra, they will only fulfill the prerequisite. So they will have a degree, a good grade sheet, and a lot of motivation that I really want to, for example, go in academia, do something. How and then, for example, the skill sets that we are discussing here, that they have to be self-motivated. They should have an idea what they want to do and what they will need from us to fulfill or successfully implement that idea. There's a gap between the master's course and then these expectations. How do you but still fulfillable? How do you expect, or what do you suggest new students who are doing masters to fill this gap while they are doing masters, and not really realize this when they are already finished with their studies and now they have to somehow manage it? What are your suggestions or advice to the students to bring them up to this level of actually fulfilling this criteria?
I think the most important issue at all is that they run scientific projects and tasks and contributions during most of the time. It's quite important that they have a kind of link to the departments and to start thinking and contributing to the activities of the department. And sometimes we offer HIVI jobs, but not always we have a HIVI job. Sometimes we just have a project. And I think one of the most important, let's say, modules concerning methodological approach teaching is the research assignment. And people that are showing that they understand working scientifically during the research assignment, they have a good ground for doing research in the long term.
Yeah, and I also feel that if someone is doing their master thesis appropriately, so they do not just do it as, okay, I was assigned this task and I tested this material with 30 different tools and now I have these very fancy graphs. Other than that, if they really understand why they were doing something and what are the implications of the results that they got, and what are their limitations. So what are the new things that should be built on and further improved in what they research or worked on? I think that is also a very nice base or ground if done well.
I think you are putting your fingers in a very important point. When we realize that someone is thinking about what he's doing and not only doing what some other thinks and explain him how to do it and what to do it. So in the moment where we realize that the students not only understand what they are doing, they are rethinking about what they are doing. And in the moment when they are coming along with their own ideas and with their own thinking about the limitations of their to-dos, and when they're coming along with their own proposals what to do next, in that moment we realize they are not only working like someone who has been told what to do, they are working from the scientific aim or question, and they understand to think about what they are doing and how they should do it. So when they are supporting us in organizing the research, then we realize these people are ready
on the right track.
Yeah, they are ready to work scientifically.
Yeah, so with this, for example, what I would like to do is I would like to summarize this invitation. So if someone has not just passed all at their master's level, not just passed all the subjects, but also understood why they are studying something and what are the real challenges the globe and the industry or the research is facing, and they have positioned themselves well with what are their personal skills, how they can contribute to a part of the problem, the bigger problem, and then they have really understood why they are doing something, and then they have done something and understood what are the implications of their results, and then I think it is very easy to combine this with a long-term scope of, okay, Institute of Metal Forming is working on something like this, and I have already worked on this, and this is the gap that needs to be fulfilled, and I think I can fill this gap very nicely at this institute. And then they will, for example, come to us with, okay, I have passed this degree, I have these certificates, but on top of that, I have this idea that I came about when I was doing my master's, or I was doing an internship, or I was doing a research seminar, and can you help me with these and these things so that I can fulfill it? I think that is a very nice approach to reach, for example, the institute.
Yeah, perfect. Very well concluded. In summary, thank you.
Yeah. So with that, basically, this is something that this is actually all that we wanted to discuss today. Do you have any concluding remarks or points that you would like to add to this conversation?
I think my main concluding remark is that things are not running like an algorithm. The main is you must to be able to adapt, to be agile, to think and to live in it. And then it becomes a fun. It's a very dynamic system because the world is dynamic and we are always trying to be in one specific issue on a very small and narrow point, but to be here, to be the first. And that means a kind of explorative character. So you need to do something that is a little bit new. On the other side, you must do it on the basis of all the knowledge that is around. And with that, it's a little bit using everything and to be wide and to be able to think a little bit global. On the other side, to be able to think very local and very specific. And with that, it's a kind of, being everywhere a little bit and have a good idea where to go. And on the other side, you need some discipline and you need some hard working. So being flexible with a lot of discipline, right? Indeed.
So when, for example, we advise students that you have to be agile and flexible and adapt And what they always say is, oh, we are very flexible. Just tell us what we have to do, and we will do what needs to be done. What I feel that we mean by this is that be flexible in developing the skills that are required. And then the question is, what skills are required? My best answer is we don't know. So very recently, ChatGPT was launched, and nobody was ready for that. So we never anticipated it. We never knew it would happen. Otherwise, we would have told students to do those kind of courses and do prompt engineering before it came, so they could actually make the best use out of it. Similarly, for example, now the world is facing new challenges. There are energy crisis. There is cap on carbon footprint, and soon the world will have very new challenges we have never heard about. We have never seen, and the student and the new engineers or the new technology developers will have to deal with them. So the idea is, please keep yourself updated by engaging positively with social media, by engaging with the right people in the right industry, and from there get enough exposure that you know which trends are following up, and then based on them keep yourself flexible, as Professor Prahl mentioned. So have a global view and also have a local view, but you can only have that when you have enough exposure, and it is your responsibility to have exposure, and no one can give you that. So yeah, with that, I want to end today's podcast. I thank you so much, Professor Prahl, for your time and valuable insight that you shared during the podcast. And thanks to our listeners, and see you in the next one.
Yeah, and thank you for this time and for the invitation, and looking forward for the next time.
Yeah, thank you so much. Bye.